Hallelujah. Welcome, Ramsey. I know your work.
Good morning, sir. Welcome, sir. Thank you,
Good
sir.
morning, yeah. So everyone, welcome. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to start with some interview questions. And today we're going to start with implementation and operation before we go to what we have today, basically visualization. So there will be some interview question based on implementation of data governance and operation as well. So we're waiting for the rest people to come over. So if you are employed as a data governance, what are the key steps in implementing a data governance framework? The key steps you should take in the implementation of the program. Okay, yeah.
Is that to define objectives, assign roles, create policies, and implement tools and monitor the processes?
That's good. You mentioned tools, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then you also, what did you say again?
So to define objectives and assign roles.
That's correct.
In a team, create policies, implement tools, and monitor processes.
Absolutely, you're right. You have to define rules. Very important. You have to define objectives, assign rules, create policies, you implement tools, and monitor progress.
Yeah.
Okay, why do we need to monitor progress?
To make sure that the policies that we put in place are effective.
Absolutely, you're right. Okay, so do you know that you can use that as one of the initiative you carry out when you came in, maybe which is greenfield, because you said define objectives, assign rules, create policy. So when you talk about creating policy, you're explicitly saying that it's a greenfield. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So if it's not greenfield, what would you say about the policy? What word would you use instead of create?
Develop.
Thank you. You're really good, Nicholas. I'm proud of you.
I've been listening. That's
very good. That's very good. That's very good. So when you are employed, you could be asking interviews. Now, just tell me, how will you implement in your operation? How will you implement and also operate your data governance program that you put together? This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna say, okay, very, very important. And then you also need to lay emphasis on, say, in this case or in any case or in any kind of field or scope, you should be able to mention whether green or brown field. Okay, thank you. All right, so how do you establish data governance role within the team? How do you establish? This time, look at the word that is okay. There is establish. Okay, so how will you establish? How do you establish? Okay, Nicholas, your hand is up.
Assign roles based on responsibilities like data ownership, stewardship, and custodianship.
That's correct. That is the basic thing. You have to assign roles based on
like data ownership,
responsibility. Yeah, responsibilities like data ownership, stewardship, and custodianship. You will see this one in one of your assignments that will be out anyway. So it's gonna be CRM platform And there will be some critical data issue which you will identify and describe them and also log them in. Then you have to assign responsibilities. You will rate the issues, whether they're critical or high or medium or low. And also those issues you will point out the dimension, the quality control dimension of those data. So whether it has to do with inconsistency, incompleteness, unique, and all the frameworks of data quality dimensions. So on that basis, you will now assign responsibility to data owner if you solely identify data owner, and then also the data steward that will be dealing with, that will be implementing what has been put in. Then you have to assign the timeline for each of those issues that you kind of identify and log in, depends on the rating that you put. If it's critical, it has to be done quickly in order to meet up with the standard you set. So that's very good. You will say it there. Okay. So in implementation, what challenges do organizations face when implementing data governance? What are the challenges? This is always sometimes, if not second questions, it may be the third questions that will always come with data governance. So in terms of implementation. So what challenges do organizations face when implementing data governance?
Resistance to change, lack of clarity in roles, and inadequate resources. Sometimes, and also sometimes sharing of roles as well. Like if roles aren't in the right place.
Absolutely. You are so clever. Maybe when I grow up, I'll be like.
Thank you. I'll take
Yeah,
it.
so to be quite honest, it's actually resistant to change,
Yeah.
lack of clarity in roles in most cases, and inadequate resources because they need to have a budget based on the program you brought in. And yeah, so for example, if there is a change, which of course there's another question that will come because you have identified this, well, how can you mitigate against them? So what would you do? Each of the answers you gave, resistance to change, how can you mitigate against resistance to change? Those are the key things you need to know and do. So how will you resolve the issue of resistance to change as a data governance manager? They're not just paying you such amount of money for nothing. Yeah, so they're paying you for the value you are creating by your program. So then you want to go further when there is resistance to change. What will you do?
Resistance to and maybe show them the benefits of like new software
Okay,
and
how will you show them?
yeah, that's true.
How will you show them?
How will I show them?
Hmm. How am I showing you what we're doing?
Training and development.
Yes, by
Yeah,
training and development. Yeah.
workshops, training. Yes, 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 yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
And how often will you do that?
I would say as depending on the framework of the business, it could be daily, weekly, or monthly.
I just love that. I love when you talk like a professional. How did you come to be talking like a professional?
I've just been coming to here, and I'm writing things down and just
Okay, that's
and just
very
trying
good.
to and trying to just try and memorize it. You
Oh,
know,
that's really, really good. Please don't forget what Barrister said there. You know,
I
yeah,
think supervision is also key.
very good.
supervision.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
And if we mention workshops and training as well, I know she could be somewhere very far away. She cannot talk where she is now at the moment. So, but if you could talk, we would like to hear your voice the way I'm hearing Barrister Nicholas as well. Okay, Ashbob, can you hear us from overseas?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much. Right. Okay. Now, training is very that last question, you know, is very important. Normally comes when you face interview and they want to know how you're able to collaborate and also communicate. So they just want to know your ability, your skill in communication, collaboration in terms of initiative you're going to carry out. So sometimes all these questions, they are being repeated in a different way, but keep on hammering on management, communication, collaboration. If you keep on saying that, that means we have a headway. Yeah, Barrister, your hand is up. Welcome, Princess.
Thank you. Like you did say, this is a very important subject. We had a discussion the other day in an organization or in a country where there's nothing like CPD, continuous professional development or training development workshop. Well, that organization cannot grow at all, because like we did say, in terms of there will always be changes. There will always be change. So at the end of the day, if there's no training, no workshop and development, the organization can't go anywhere. They will they will just be, instead of progression, you will find out that it's negative that will be happening instead of positive outcome. Like I said, we're discussing the other day, and some countries or professions. In fact, I had a conversation with one of these African countries, and I said, "Oh, these are some of the things that we can provide." You won't believe the response I got. They said even if they have to come, they will just collect the money, and that will be it. They won't even attend the training or workshop. So you can imagine what happens to a country or such economy. So it's very important that I think we were saying the other day that as soon as you graduate, I don't think it takes a year or even two before it becomes obsolete. So that's why there's the need for training, development, and workshop. Thank you.
Absolutely, you are right. So it's very important that the only person or entity that never learned is in the grave or has gone on administration.
Sorry, and also to add,
Yeah.
in fact, the other day I was discussing with someone in developed climes like US, UK, and some other countries. Irrespective of the position you are, you have someone that is supervising you.
Okay.
So, in fact, a manager or a supervisor will come from another organization to even supervise the head. So, in terms of accountability and also compliance, there is someone that is always there. But in some countries, especially in Africa, you'll be surprised that they don't even understand what means. There's nothing like supervision. So what do you expect from such an economy? That's why this topic is very, very important. And at interviews, they will always ask questions like this. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Any other person who need to contribute to that, because it's a very, very important aspect of, this training. Even while we're here, we're contributing. So it's very important. Any other person? Any other person?
Probably something that we should also speak. Probably, let's put it the other way. Where there is no training, where there is no workshop, what happens? There's no training and development, what happens? Well, that way we'll have a better understanding of this topic. Thank you.
Yeah, you flip it. That's I think everybody here, I can see that they know what we're talking about now. If we just say I'm where I can't speak at the moment, of course I know. Rather, okay, maybe it will come back again. So let's go to the next one. How do you ensure accountability in data governance processes? We're talking about accountability now. How do we ensure accountability? Okay.
I think one of the ways is by regularly getting feedback and also ensuring compliance. We could do this by supervision and also reporting to those that are probably above, or having a proper hierarchy.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you so much. So some of the answers I'm giving is not limited to them, either here or there. So in most cases, you can always add to it from experience and from research. But in most cases, if we are talking about accountability, it goes with like the structure Barrister said. Now, if you have organogram, cascade from up, down, and responsibility goes from down, up. So to the person who has who is accountable to what have been entrusted in his care. In this case, is the governance and the management of data. So I think I'm putting an answer like, by defining rules clearly in the organogram and also monitoring the adherence to policies. So that's where Barrister talk about our compliance, is very important. So wherever you talk about accountability, just know that it has something to do with, it has something to do with, if you just say assign rules to key people, of course, when you define the rules that you have assigned properly, very clear, they know what to do, they know what they are accountable for, and also it cascade down from up, and whoever that is responsible to the chief executive also have accountability to the one that below. So the one below is responsible to the next one, and he also has accountability with the one. So as it goes up by way of accountability, it flows from, as it goes down from by way of accountability, it goes up by way of responsibility as well. So it depends on the design of the organogram. It could be circular, it could be horizontal, it could be vertical. But in any case, as long as there's a flow, chart based on how accountability flows and how responsibility flows, that's what matters. Okay, so the basic thing is that not the structure just put in place. We must understand clearly all what we are expected to do. If those rules and responsibilities are not well defined and clearly stated, then there will be chaos. And if it's a periodic review to be sure it is being implemented correctly, of course. Yeah, that's very important. I like that. Okay. Right. So I'm just gonna ask something. Let me look at the time. Let me ask 2 questions or 3 questions on data quality, which of course very important. I'm going to ask questions based on data quality and security before we go to visualization we have today. Okay. So this question, these questions I'm going to ask them are going to be based on data quality and security. Okay. So how does data quality governance improve data quality? Especially when you say you have carried out an initiative before on data quality. How does it improve it? Okay. Well, yeah, Nicholas.
Okay, by defining standards, validating data, and monitoring for consistency.
Absolutely. You must understand that. In fact, thank you so much. You got to understand standards, validating data, and also monitoring for it. So that's very good. Okay, if you also added to it that it makes data clearer to understand as well when you define. Okay, that's very good as well. So it's by defining standards, validating data, and monitoring for consistency. Okay, you know, talking about sustainability of the quality that you have produced by the standard you have created. And Ashbox ensuring that data is accurate, consistent, and reliable. Those are data quality dimension anyway. Ashbox, those are data quality dimension. Okay, but after getting that, you can only validate those things. The dimensions are okay based on the standard set, and then you need to monitor. There are other ways to monitor. I can ask so many questions based on that. There are so many ways to monitor, and you can have auto as well, or you can remove, if it's a duplicate, remove duplication, of course. Yeah, that is when you carry out the initiative. But when all those initiatives have been carried out by the standard set and validifying it, how can you maintain over time? Over time is you have to monitor. There are difference between monitoring and evaluation. In any program you have, A to Z, in any operation, if from the inbound to outbound, from input to output, whatever that takes place in between transition, which of course is operation. So it can either be strategy. What's the meaning of strategy? What's the meaning of strategy?
Long-term goal.
Long-term plans.
Long plan, yeah.
Yeah. So if it is not strategy, then it will be what? Yeah.
Tactical, yeah.
If it's a tactical, yeah. So tactical means what? Short-term plan. So, and whenever you have a long-term plan, you plan to see the results, expected result to be this. And after you have finished creating value, you cannot carry out evaluation whether the value created met the expectation or exceeded it, or it did not even up to the expectation. So whichever may be the case, whether the value was not created by expectation, or it met the expectation or exceeded the expectation, you carry out evaluation. And that requires you looking at the criteria you have set before. You carry a KPI, and based on the standard you have set already, and then you have to monitor every stage of the process, whether there has been a best practice carried out. If the gap that exists in between the management practice and best practice, then you need to work on your SOP, which is standard operating procedure, to ensure that you meet up with the defined standards and validate it again, and also you maintain it over time. That means consistently. So, and that will reduce error and improve customer insight, and also helps in taking strategy decision making. Thank you. Always remember this. What processes ensure data accuracy under governance? What process? This is, I think some of you have answered this question in a way. Okay. What processes ensure data accuracy under data governance? Nicholas?
Data validation, periodic audits, and automated quality checks.
I see. That's correct. So it's very, very important. Very, very important. Please, when you are giving any initiative, when you are asked questions, because most questions, in most interviews will ask you, please just tell me, forget about your CV, just tell me what initiative you are carrying out. In this case, you say you want to talk about data quality initiative. People will be so much interested, because it goes a long way. You have to carry out a lot of things, but then if you say data validation, and periodic audits and automated quality checks, that is when you have finished the process. Okay? You have finished the process. So, and you have created value. That means your data has got integrity. You validate the data. Periodic audits. Why do you carry out periodic audits? To also monitor whether the data are good across functional department in the enterprise. Okay, and you have to have have automation of that quality. Very important. Okay. All right, so I think I'm going to stop there, and then we'll continue on. While we're here today, visualization, data visualization. So this cohort, some people are still on holiday. Okay, can you see what I'm sharing, everyone? Yeah. Good. Nicholas, you can see what I'm sharing. Okay. Data visualization. Okay. In most cases, you visualize it after you have carried out analysis. Someone put on essential. Yes, okay. Yes, if you can see what I'm sharing, that's very good. So when you carry out data analysis of some set of data sets or arrays of the same, there's need for you to visualize those data. And when you visualize the data, when you visualize data, you create a domain to which a chief executive and other stakeholders to take a decision. Okay. And you will experience it when we're going to carry out a practical on data analysis, how to carry out data quality initiative using Power BI and also we can use MySQL. But after which, you will now visualize the data. So there's need for you to see the theory aspect of it before we carry both of them together. Okay? Because I know I've taught you people data quality and also data analytics. When we talk about descriptive analytics, if anybody can remember what is descriptive analytics, and anyone? Descriptive analytics. Anyone know descriptive analytics? Yeah.
I don't know that one. I'm waiting for. I'll write it down as soon as I find out.
Yeah, I think it's in one of your notes. If you
Let me have a look.
Analytics.
From the name, like I've always said, a lot of these terms are actually taken from or interpreted based on the word. Like we know, describe and analysis put together. So when we're working on data or data governance, instead of I think the way I would define this is we have described, we have prescriptive. So in this case, this one has to do with describing the data and also using relevant information or diagram to explain what will bring in to the table. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ashburn just putting on the chat box as well. It means historical data.
Okay.
Historical data. In other words, secondary data. Okay. So we have descriptive, and we have also a diagnostic, and we have also
prescriptive,
predictive, and prescriptive. So we have even more than that anyway. But in most cases, in data analysis and analytics, you have all those concepts.
So in that case, which will we classify as primary?
Primary is diagnostic.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, because you are diagnosing the
live and direct.
And also we have real-time analytics as well. I don't know if I have taught.
Yes, we did. We did, yeah, the other time. Yeah.
Real-time analytics, as it comes, is visualized. It's analyzed and visualized. That's why you see stock market responding to exit pool, and you see CNN responding to, something happening right now. So
real time.
So real-time analytics. And we require very powerful software to get things done.
I think the example we gave the other day too, like in courts, as the proceedings are going on, they are being recorded live.
Yeah.
In case you want to use them, and so that they won't say, okay, there's this, there was been an error. They always refer to those tapes.
Yeah.
I think I gave the example. Sorry, I gave the example the other day of when I had a call with an insurance company, and the insurance company was saying, when we make calls, they will tell you that this call is being recorded.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, this is something that we could all learn from. At the end of the day, they were saying that, I said something else. Instead of asking them to remove my Mercedes from the policy, they went to cancel the policy that affected my Tesla. And then I said, okay, you have to take out another policy, and I said, no.
Expensive.
Yes. I said, no. Something that was probably, in fact, they now said insurance was going to be about £10,000. You can imagine that, So I now requested for the tapes. They said, oh, you don't need the tape because the manager had already listened to it, and that you told the lady you spoke with to cancel the policy. I said, no, I wouldn't have said the policy because I didn't actually know the policy number by heart. So I now made a formal complaint, and they came back to me to say they were very sorry, that yes, I'm correct. So you can imagine if there was records were not there. Yeah. And obviously I was compensated and they reinstated it, something that they were asking for about 10,000. At the end of the day, it was about 2,000 pounds annually. Yes.
That is why it's really good to have those. If you know what you're doing, in most cases, you're always going to be working as a winner all the time. So now moving forward, irrespective of the analytics that you are involved as a data analyst, you are going to end up with data visualization. Okay. And what does it really mean is that actually the concept is about the art and science of representing complex data, set visually. So by allowing for exploration, analysis, and also communication of understanding in a more intuitive and compelling manner. And you do this by using the data you have transformed to interpret them into, put them into graphical and interactive visual representation. So that helps in understanding patterns of data or issues, trends, and correlation easily to be understood. Very, very important. So we have an example here. Consider a scenario in which a retail company wants to analyze its sales. They now employ Nicholas so to analyze the sales performance across different regions. It could be in UK, Germany, US, Japan, then the capital of Africa, Nigeria, over the past year. Instead of going through endless spreadsheet of Excel, they use data visualization tools to create interactive maps and charts. This visual helped what? Then they define which region have seen the highest and lowest sales. So understand seasonal trends like Christmas or New Year or Easter period, and pinpoint areas for potential growth or improvement. This is just an example. So like this, now we're talking about CRM platform of sales. Has anybody got any example to give? Any example to give? So maybe when we come next, I'm going to ask for example for visualization for you. Okay, that's good. What are the challenges that you face in visualization? One of the challenges in data visualization is selecting the right type. Please take note of this. Very important. Okay, the right type of visualization for a specific data set or scenario. If you have a company and you have a lot of people complaining of different things. So, and then you need to have a database of all the complaints. And then you decided to say, okay, you know what, let's visualize how many people are different complaints. And then you visualize it. What kind of graph will you use in visualizing those campaigns or those complaints? And that will determine which one is priority to you. And take a very strong and decisive action to ensure that that is reduced to the barest minimum, if not invariably eliminated. So these are the kind of things one could always, if you don't know the right type of visualization, you may use a different kind of visualization that will be very difficult to interpret with respect to the data set you have. So now sometimes choosing an inappropriate chart or graph can misrepresent the data or fail to represent to highlight the intended insight. Another challenge is ensuring that the visualization remain very, very clear, very clear and understandable to the targeted audience, and especially when dealing with complex data sets. Okay, what do you think will be the solution? What do you think would be the solution? Do we have a princess there? Okay. Maury, you raise your hand.
Like to truly understand, like get a really good understanding of the data. Make sure you have a really clear insight, and then try and use that to try and visualize, to send a really good visualization of it. That's the way I would do it.
Yeah. So because if you visualize something wrongly, using wrong kind of data in a visualization, then it will be so difficult unless someone who is so used to how to represent data could easily flip it around. Barrister, your hands up.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to say, as we've discussed in our previous classes, we did mention the example of a doctor, where in NHS, where a patient has been wrongly diagnosed for cancer, and at the end of the day, the person didn't have cancer. And you'll find out that they'll be treating the person with the wrong medication, only to find out that this person probably has diabetic. So it's something that could be very fatal.
Absolutely.
So that's why the importance of like we always say, that's why a lot of organizations can afford to pay a lot of money, huge amount of money to data analysts and for data governance role or position. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barrister. And because of your background so much, and you can easily apply these things in data governance all the time. So, which is really good. Maureen, you actually provided an insight into reality. You just reversing what.
Yeah, basically, yeah, that's exactly what I did. But it seemed to make sense. It seemed to make sense. Like you need a really good insight on the on the subject and data, as well as I would also say feedback as well. Like get feedback from your particular client, business, organization.
Especially when they don't know how to interpret it. Say this visualization is not clear, then you use another one. That would be okay for me. But in real sense, that as a data governance manager and also data analyst, if you have your analytics, for example, it is very good that you understand the right type of visualization for specific data set or scenario that you want to, display. So the thing is, it's crucial to understand the data, get to understand the data that is coming, thoroughly before creating visualization. So choose visual elements that best represent those data, and so that is very important. And the relationship and patterns within the data or the trends you want to really kind of communicate to the stakeholder for informed decision making. You employ interactive features, like as you said now, Nicholas, in visualization to allow pattern within the data, or to allow users to exploit data further and derive insights tailored to their specific needs. Interact with them, If they're not okay with such a representation, you use another one. They tell you, oh, do it this way, do it this way. I think I'm able to interpret data properly. Especially when you are enriching your data with different kind of enriching the data with different data sets to make it more useful to to your clients. Then it's very important that you should listen to them as well to ensure clarity. And it's good also to have proper labeling, color schemes. If you have different bars and you can represent them with red, green, yellow, that kind in them. Yeah. Barrister, your hand is up.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say that it's very important that we know the right data to give or to release. For organizations, when we're looking for jobs, it's very important for us to look at the kind of organization we want to go to, because for very big or large organization, they don't just release data like that. It will go through different hands. But where you are the only one in an organization and you give wrong information, it could actually lead to that company going bust.
Very
Yeah.
important. That's
So data, giving the right information is key. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You, Barrister. Yeah, it's very important. And okay, now, so we're going to look at some of the graphs we can have. You know, this is line graph. So it's a chart, it is a dynamic visuals. We use it for dynamic visuals that exhibit trends and changes over time by connecting data points with lines. Okay, so trends are things that occur in changes that occur in a direction, you know, that is in vogue. So if you really look at the trends and changes that are happening over time, it's good to use line chart, drawing the lines, and they offer a very clear representation of how a variable involves or fluctuates across different periods, aiding in the identify patterns and correlations. Okay, with respect to what you are measuring. So kind of, you know, having benchmark it is possible. So those trends can easily be interpreted when you use line graph, connecting the points across the axis. It could be x-axis or y-axis anyway. So whichever may be the case, it will help to know when something has gone on peak period or not on peak period. Example of line graph could be used to illustrate the stock market performance. Okay, they use line a lot. They use line a lot. Yes, and of a company over a year, showcasing the daily closing prices. So if you watch stock market, I think they use line a lot. So the upward and downward trend of the line would indicate the stock overall performance. Okay, highlighting growth, decline, and stability. So what are the challenges you normally see in line graph? One of the challenges of line graph is the potential oversimplification of complex data. So it made it simple, but it could be oversimple. Okay, when you kind of represent it, it could be oversimple with respect to the trends and patterns. Sometimes subtle fluctuation or anomalies within the data might not be adequately represented, leading to misinterpretation or overlooking crucial details. A lot of people want details, but those who are very used to stock, when they see something that they know what happened between one to another, and the 2 points from one point to another, and looking at the time and the year, those who are very, very good in line graphs in stock market, they will know that, oh, that fluctuation took place because this president made this statement. And that is why this thing going, oh, this one, the stock market goes high because so incoming president made this thing, okay, I think the stock should go high, you know. So those who are experienced will always get that detail. But those who are not experienced with line graphs, you will want to know the detail that occurred that made this fluctuation taking place ordinately, you know. So, but then it goes with experience anyway. What are the solutions to such? You have to address this challenge considering incorporating additional data points. That means you can have annotations. Annotations have to give a summary of the detail of what has occurred in between the points, or interactive features into the line graph. So that means as you begin to use your mouse to go through each point in between 2 points, maybe there are details hidden in the line that you might not know. So those things can just be incorporated in it. So okay, in between one line of 60 to 190, and the line as you're moving your cursor around and moving up to point of 90, maybe point of 71, there's something stated there or that is hidden. So, and we can decide to have such an annotation or interactive features in such a line that could help those who want to know the detail of line representation, because they want to look at the crucial points, how things are being done. All right, sometimes you can also utilize tooltips or zoom functionalities to allow user to explore specific perioding. That's what I just explained anyway. Moreover, combining line chart with other visualization types like scatter plots, okay, or annotations can offer a more comprehensive understanding of data trends. If you have scatter plots in a way, you can draw a line of regression to cut across those scatter plots, and you can also at each point that you cannot easily connect, you can have details shown in them, explaining to them. That's the line graph, okay? So we have bar chart. We all know this one in most cases, right from the time we were prime and in our schooling. So bar chart uses bars to represent categorical data. So the first one deals with what? Trends and changes. Okay. Nicholas, can you get that as well? Ashibog, can you get that? One deals with trends. In most cases, you have trends in stock market. You also have trends also in a CRM platform like clothing shops like Primark, M&S. You look at what is always changing, why women do more shopping, why more things are being done in Christmas period or other period, what has been in vogue, which is trend. So there are so many platforms you can use line graphs as well, not only stock. But this time is talking about bar. Okay, yeah, okay. Any shares, okay, without pressure, and you have better, okay, thank you, the barrister. Yeah, that is really good. Okay, bar charts represent categorical data. What do you mean? Making comparison across different categories. So easily understandable and usually appealing. So for example, imagine a bar chart displaying sales figures for different products, okay, in a retail store over a month. So the length of the bar represents the sales volume we're talking about right now, okay, our revenue generated by each product. So that enables quick comparison of performance between products over time, okay. Bar normally is very big in a way, okay. So what are the challenges? For example, one of the challenges is arising when dealing with a large number of categories or data points. Okay, now which can clutter the visualization and make it challenging to interpret. So on this basis, what will be the solution you can employ? Or what do you think would be a solution we can employ? If you have a large number of categories, this is not category of products, a category of things, then you need to represent it using bar chart. And then, so if you have large number of categories and all data points, which clutter the visualization and make it challenging to somebody to interpret, especially chief executive, or maybe the chief executive may employ business analyst. Of course, I think business analyst should be able to know this a lot. So to overcome it, you consider grouping similar categories using horizontal bar charts for better readability, okay? Or employing interactive features like drill downs to focus on specific data set. So right now, because if there's complex data category you may have, you will have to find way to drill down to focus on specific data set of data. And also stack bar charts or group bar charts can also be employed to represent multiple data series within each category. So there's when you have a very large complex data to represent in a bar form, in a category form. So you can just group. So okay, from one to 10 of this product will represent so bar. Then the next one we see 11 to 20. So what happened between those bars? There are variables that you need to measure in using your data to represent the same variables over time. But if they have to be constant, then you also need to visualize them. Okay. Right. Moving forward, we have pie chart. Pie chart is usually engaging representation that showcases proportions of a whole. A proportion of a whole, all right, which each slide symbolizes a percentage or proportion of the total. So you know what that means easily. So if you have 100% of what you're looking for, you have slides of 2%, 3%, or maybe 40-something%. So you can easily use that. Barrister, your hands up.
Yeah, thank you. I was just thinking aloud. I know we probably might come to that. I think the starting point when it comes to using different charts and diagrams and things like that, I think the audience matters a lot, because it doesn't make sense where we'll probably use bar chart or use one of the other graph or diagrams where the purported audience or customers or your end users do not actually know what that purports.
Yeah, so the thing is that at this stage of it, we are data governance manager. If we understand that the use of those charts of visualization very well, that is more appropriate over the years, that we know that if we use it for this, it can easily be reading by end user. So in most cases, it cannot go out if the company has not been so used to the representation. For example, you are giving data sets and you need to visualize it. And then the company, in most cases, you know which one is which. And this case, a kind of end user will be like someone who you need to report to. So that person will be able to interpret. If he cannot, then he will now have it, like as you suggested, which of course the end user can say, oh, you know what? I would love you to represent the data in this one. It can easily be interpreted by me. If I say it that way, you will know that the end user that you're trying to visualize your data, this is what kind of be used. I can easily interpret. Yeah, Barrister?
Thank you. I give you a very good example. We all had what happened recently, not just the governor of Edo State, I think even the Senate president. You know, the best thing for the guy to have done, or the personal assistant or the speechwriter, was to have written in words the figure, instead of allowing this guy to just, mess up himself. So as someone in the data governance, like you did say, you look at the audience, the end user, and say, okay, or even the person you are, even probably the person you're reporting, you could even be working in an organization, and you have to pass on some information to your manager or your superior. You tell the person, I think it's best for us to do this. Let's do this. Let's adopt this. Because at the end of the day, like I said, for those that I think probably everyone here might probably have seen that video that went viral. Although they were saying that it was doctored, but we all know that even the Senate president made the same mistake. So all they needed to do was to have written, sometimes some of these things that are sent in pictorial form would probably have been best be written in words. That's the point I'm making. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You made it clearly. So you just tell the same thing. First of all, if they had, how do you want me to represent it? You want me to represent it in dollars, or you want me to represent it in billions, okay, or in trillions? Okay, if it is 3.something trillion, you just say 3.5, 3.4. Just say in trillions, and within this, so the detail will be made known by the press. So there are some,
yes.
yeah. So there are, because they lack good governance. I'm saying this because if they have good governance and sustain the same over a period of time, things will be so easy. Let me tell you something, to be quite honest. The chief executive, most enterprises might not really interested, might not really too much interested in knowing the detail of what you're representing, because they know that before it gets to that extent, it must have passed through a lot of people who have been trusted into their hands to know the details. So someone going for a short meeting and you just need data, all what you need is just figures, representation, and this and that and that and that. That's what it needs. Just visualize it, put it in spam or his mobile phone, goes to a meeting where the executive decision has to be taken. You just need the visualization. So, but the details, they can work the details later. So in most cases, when I was working as a planning manager for temperature, I knew the commercial aspect I knew the engineering aspect of the big project, very, very big project, and what I did, what the commercial manager needs to know is what is this, and what the project manager needs to know what is this, and what the managing director need to know is this. So you know what to give, and each of them, when there is a meeting, they know where they bring their data in. So it's very, very good that we know what to use to represent what at the time. And also, if there's a gap that exists, how can you have a claim based on this gap? And then what are the causes of those claims? The managing director, the man in charge, he just didn't want to know data. A commercial side of it will be taken by commercial people. So at this point, there must be visualization. What is going on, what's not going on. For example, if you are a planner, you must know what has been planned and what is lagging and what is not lagging. What are the times that people need to do what and not what time, and then why is not being completed? What are the reasons? What are the claims? These things need to be visualized. They need to be visualized. So all these things are very, very important. Coming back to what Barrister just said, the top manager or the top person in charge doesn't need to bring the whole detail out. You just bring statistics out and visualization. The detail will be made known by, So, there is about good governance in respect to what is expected and to display and to talk about. So, example of this is imagine a pie chart displaying the budget allocation of company. So where each slide represents the percentage of the budget dedicated to various departments like marketing, research, development, and administration. So the size of each slide visually communicates the proportion of the budget allocated. So this is simple. That's what Barrister just said. those two people who made that mistake, they're supposed to, oh, this goes to education, this person go to this person go to the out of the total of this. You don't need to talk much. And that will be, the detail will be looked into by each of the department or someone in charge to administer what has been put together. So what do you do? One of the challenges that partial we have in partial is comparing values accurately. Especially when slides are very similar in size. Estimating precise differences between slides can be challenging. Of course, that is challenge that we cannot mitigate against it, particularly when there are multiple small categories or when slides have similar colors. So solution to this is to consider using a different visualization type like a bar chart when dealing with too many categories or when precise comparison are, necessary. Avoid using too many slides in a pie chart to maintain clarity, and use labels or annotations to highlight important values. So it's very important. Additionally, arranging slices from largest to smallest. By so doing, you laying emphasis on critical slices with exploded, views, and also enhance readability. So, when you need to carry out annotation, what do you think will be what to do when you need to carry out an annotation?
Repeat that question again, sorry.
When you need to carry out an annotation, what do you need to do? Can you see what I'm sharing?
Yeah.
What is on the screen?
Comparing values.
What is on the screen? What can you see on the screen?
Pie chart, each symbolizes percentage protocol. I can see all that.
Okay.
Comparing values accurately.
Okay. So, have you heard of the word annotation before?
No.
Okay.
Annotation, what does that mean?
In research, annotation refers to a brief
Okay.
summary and also explanation and also evaluation of a source. Such as any book or article or document. So the purpose of an annotation is to provide insight into the content or relevance and the quality of the source. So when you are representing using bar charts, if you have so many complex data that you need to, and you have too much slices that are so similar in color, it's better you annotate them. So annotation are often used in the context of an annotated kind of data or
Okay.
history of what you need to do. So in summary, when you want to annotate in summary, you provide concise overview of the main arguments or the main data you represent in terms of findings of your source. Sometimes you need to answer questions like, what is this source all about in terms of annotation? What does it mean to achieve? Because of the slices that could be too small, similar colors are always there. So you use annotation in most cases for evaluation as well. You want to carry out evaluation, you can, you can have access to reliability, validity, or credibility of the data that is in question or the source of it. You can also annotate in commentary on the expertise that you display there or the author of what you're dealing with or the data or the source of it. You can also talk about the quality of evidence of your data that support that such annotation, meaning that slides you are representing in form of annotation. You can also look at the strength of that argument in most cases because we are representing data in the form of argument. Why argument? Because you have to support it with source, reasons, and evidence to buttress it. Otherwise, such a representation may be just a claim without evidence, which is not too good enough to be visualized. You also use that notation to look how relevant that sport or that data is by explaining how the source contributes to the feed you're trying to express, or whatever you want to express to the user, or especially in this case, maybe the chief executive or other stakeholders who might also have been or who potentially be a shareholder. In most cases, I think business analysts will come in. So you must be able to explain the relevance of what your data actually contributes to what they want to get. And also answer questions like, why is the source so useful? You annotate that and also have how has this related to the feed, and you also do annotation in a way like kind of have a reflection of what you have visualized or here. So kind of discuss the source influences, your understanding, your personal opinion towards the problem you're trying to solve. And also ask questions like, how will I use this particular slides to convince whoever that you want to convince in annotation. That's what he does. Yeah, Barrister, your hand is up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the importance of annotation cannot be overemphasized. When I was doing one of my master's program, I was doing a research and I just stumbled into one write-up by the governing body, and I didn't believe what I saw. It actually covered almost everything about the course or what I wanted. It's just summarized everything like you said. So it all boils down to proper research and knowing how to put the words there to put on the Google or other search engine for us to get the right information that we want. Thank you.
Thank you. That's about prompting. Yeah. So yeah, basically, to be quite honest, it is so important, especially when you're doing research. You are reading a lot of articles and papers and books, and you want to review them and to see what are those ideas that have no prospect for survival that you need to discard, and those ones that you need to work with as well. Thank you for bringing that in, Barrister. So very important. I think, Nicola, do you want me to highlight it?
Yes, please.
Yeah, to highlight important values. Yeah, so that's it. I just went a little bit out of my way to explain the annotation to you a little bit. Okay. We also have histograph. We have histograph. We have histograph. Is a geographical representation used to display the distribution of numerical data by grouping it into intervals, that is, bins along the horizontal axis. So, for example, how you represent the distribution of student scores on a standardized test. The x-axis might represent an interval of, such as 0 to 20, those who score between 0 to 20, 21 to 41. While trying the y-axis display the frequency and the occurrence that normally occur and a number of students failing within each interval. So this actually illustrates the distribution of scores and indicating whether they are normally distributed, skewed, or exhibit other patterns. So the challenge we do have in this is to actually determine the appropriate number of bins. That means we're talking about the grouping intervals. So or to accurately represent the underlying data definition without oversimplification. This is really big on excessive granularity. So I explained over simplification the other time as well. When you have a lot of data to represent, a lot of categories and groups to represent, how we need to have real details. Okay. So to address the challenge, of course, experiment with different bin intervals of grouping, widths and intervals to find a suitable balance between capturing the data variability and also maintaining clarity. So it just whatever that we're having right now here as a challenge or solution, it has been explained using bar chart the other time. Okay, very important. They have the same thing, but in this case, we're talking about numerical data. So we're not talking about just categories. We're talking about numerical data. Histogram will be very, very good. So if you do statistics, it's very easy for you to get to understand that. So we have scatter plots. Scatter plots. This is really big. Scatter plot. A scatter plot visualizes the relationship between two variables by plotting points on a graph, with each axis representing one variable. It is variable for identify patterns, correlation, or trends between the variables themselves. So this, you know, when you use, when you want to measure correlation, and there is this, and scatter plot really is very kind of important to see how those points are being connected across each of the axes. So for example, imagine a scatter plot depicting the relation between students' study hours and their exam scores. Each point on the plot represents an individual student. Wait, is your hand up? Okay, no. Barrister. Okay, right.
Sorry, I was actually going to say it would be very important for us to know why the word scatter is used. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of building the case around the line. So each point on the plot represents an individual student with an axis showing the study hours and the y-axis displaying the corresponding, exam scores. So the scatter plot helps design, design if there's any correlation between study time and performance. So in most cases, when you see people not coming to study, their attendance is so low, and then and the attendance is low, then they will probably have a very low score of fail. You cannot relate where it correlates, have a correlation where drawn in terms of where the performance is so bad because it has not been attended classes.
Okay.
So, but there are some people, they don't attend classes, but they get the highest. How can you relate? How can you talk? How can you correlate that? Dr. Van. Dr. Van.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How can you correlate? Look at the flip side of things, like someone who doesn't attend studies and he got a failed exam. So we can easily draw correlation that he failed the exam because he doesn't attend classes. What about the other side of it, that someone doesn't attend class and got the highest? I will be able to explain that, Doctor.
Okay. There is a relationship between less class attendance with failure.
Yeah.
And there's a high tendency that if student does not attend class and passed, that means either the work is outsourced or the work was outsourced somehow, not done by the student.
If you have a very clever person that always he doesn't attend, but he takes note from colleagues, and you're able to do where you use the word header. So you explain one side of the header, and the other side of it will be like the person is very brilliant like you. So if you don't attend.
Yeah. Though even though there are brilliant, someone has passed the course, has passed. There's difference when you learn collaboratively and then you learn alone. So the fact that a student does not attend classes but has passed and is a brilliant student, the student has passed the module but lacks engagement and participation in class.
So the judgment will be subjective, not objective.
Yes.
It still boils down to what has been established in terms of policy with respect to how we can look at that. I would like to come back to that question again. Barrister, your hands up.
Thank you. I totally agree with Dr. or Prof. Just to also add that the percentage of those that usually attend and those that don't attend, you will discover that those that attend, they tend to do a lot better. And also, like your Prof also pointed out, there's nothing like having interactive section. You know, some people are geniuses that they don't really necessarily need to attend. But obviously, when they are in the class like that discussing, you know, in terms of performance, obviously, like you said, the person probably had the highest, but in terms of the input and also real life experience, you know, he's going to do better. There is this case of someone that went to Unilag, I'm sorry to mention the school anyway, and at the end of the day, in fact, the person actually studied medicine. He came here, the person was working in one of the top hospitals here, the children's doctor. The first child died in this guy's hands. Second child died. The fourth one, they now set up an inquiry. Could you believe that this guy was not attending lecture? Medicine for that, I just couldn't comprehend. And he said he actually he was one of the best students. You can imagine that.
I think it doesn't belong. I heard of that story. It's not long.
Yes. So that's the importance of, like we just said, and I think that's the point Prof was making. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I love this contribution. Yeah, it's very important. So when I look at this, then you're going to be representing data based on it. You need to have a very sound judgment because it can either be either way, but how will you intuitively or kind of subjectively define the scenarios of whereby trying to explain whereby someone attendance can be related to someone performance. Also, and then yes, that's established, but it goes in one side of it that it doesn't attend, but it get the best. Well, I leave that for those who will take strong decisions on that. And but we must not represent our data wrongly. It all boils down to principle and policy that are put in place to help in getting this thing done properly anyway. But for the purpose of theory, this is how it goes. If you meet a challenge of scatter program whereby we have visual clutter and you're dealing with a large number of data sets and at this point, which can obscure patterns or trends within the data, you need to address this challenge considering using transparency or smaller mark sizes of individual data points to reduce clutter. And even with this, you can also use annotation as well to help explore specific areas of interest to the end user. In this case, we could also call the end user as the chief executive or business analyst. And if you're dealing with, if you are a Scrum Master and a backlog owner, need to receive user stories, which already kind of came in as a result of users and analyzed by business analysts. You need to know, and before it gets to backlog, those data that are going to be scrutinized must be well scrutinized before coming to backlog. Otherwise, you will not get transparency in them, and there will be a salient representation of what is expected of us to know. But it's good to understand that each of those points need to be well represented to avoid any. And you can also use annotation. That is very important to describe each of these points so that it will be so easy to interpret. So I will be ending it here today. I don't know if somebody have learned something. Okay, a barrister says where the data has been wrongly represented and caused misrepresentation, how should such a question be asked in an interview in terms of best practice and legal framework? Yeah, very important. Okay, can everyone go to the chat box and look at the question put before us in the chat box? You say, please, where the data has been wrongly presented, okay, and cause misinterpretation or misrepresentation, and how should such a question be answered in an interview? So we're talking about wrongly presented, and when it's wrongly presented, there's going to be misrepresentation. So, can someone attempt to answer that question, please? Yep.
I'll have a go.
Have a go. Otherwise,
I'll have a go. Just obviously find out what the framework of the business is, what policies that they have in place, and how these have been implemented, and also make sure that everybody's responsibilities as well as who keeps what data is really clearly defined. That's the way I would look at it based on what I know.
yeah, you've really tried. It's a very tactical question that is tactical question that embrace every aspect of data governance. So I should expect more from you right now on that.
Okay.
We're talking about data wrongly presented. That's number one. Deal with that. And then wrongly, that cause misrepresentation. So the precursor for misrepresentation is wrongly presented. So we need to, when you can deal with the root cause of wrongly presented.
So is the data accurate? That's number one.
Yeah.
Is the data accurate? Is it?
And if it is that, we're talking about data quality.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So use the word data quality that encompasses accuracy, consistency,
Yeah. Okay.
completing and
So
avoiding
quality is the word you need.
duplications. Yeah. So data quality. Yeah. Well done.
Okay.
So in the first place, the data lacks integrity. That's number one.
Perfect. Write that down.
Can you work with a data that lacks integrity? So we need the data to be cleansed. That is, you have to carry out data quality initiative. So, and that also requires a policy guiding that. Okay, there's so much that are involved in that. Okay, so on that basis, you're going to do data analysis, and you have to do data cleansing. You have to do standardization as well. Okay, in fact, the full components of data governance will come in that. Okay, and consider also the scope of it. The data will not be presented wrongly. But to present data wrongly is a big problem, very big problem.
Yeah.
So you need to sort out that.
Yeah, because integrity is instantly gone. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm going to put, when we have a full class, I'm going to put this right there. And we need an answer from everybody because it's very important. I know that's the reason why anyone who finishes from this training, when he goes to interview, we don't know who is interviewing what, who. It's very, very important. So, Nicholas copied this question.
Absolutely, I'm writing it down.
And then when we have a full class, we put it in.
Sure.
So that, for us to have a best practice, we must present data rightly. Who else again? Data is the life. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you see what Barrister put it, so that will lead us to the next one, which is this. Okay, which is data governance in practice. So when you come to data governance in practice, that's where you're going to be applying all theoretical analysis into practical action. But within days, your assignment will be done. First assignment that becomes assignment will be done. Then we enter using Power BI to analyze data ourselves to see how data can be analyzed, transformed, load and extract, transform and load ETL or ELT, and then visualize and see where we can have the method which any end user can take a decision. So the assignment 2 will be how to assess the current situation of data governance using different criteria and components of data governance to know which one that has met the business needs. So we're going to do that in assignment 2 in data governance in practice and best practice as well. So thank you so much for coming today. And I really appreciate you. I don't know if you have learned something today.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's also given me stuff to research. So yeah, very grateful.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Barrister. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Oh, see, I heard your voice.
Thank you,
Thank you, Ramsey. Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you.
Yeah, he had you.
I like the boy. Oh, can't wait to see him again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Job Dagana. Job Dagana. Hello, Job Dagana.
Yeah, Job was actually, we're classmates at the law school, 1993.
Okay, so where is he signing on from?
He's signing on from Nigeria.
Okay, nice.
He's an author and a writer.
Okay, so nice really seeing you here.
Job, you can introduce yourself. And also, our teacher should tell Job what this class is all about. Job, you could please feel free to introduce yourself, Job.